Hey everybody, we're back with these travel nuggets. I'm here talking to my sister Nubia from Black in Travel, and we're going to be bringing you information that can help you travel the world, travel the states, travel whatever country you might be in, and maximize the different options that are available to you that you might not know. Maybe you do know some of them, and you might be able to drop some comments in the below to let us know maybe some things we don't know about. But today we're going to be talking about these hotel points, these credit card points. But before we get to that, hey, Nubia, how are you today?
I'm great. I love sharing the wealth and information on how you can maximize your time, your money, and your energy. And so I am so excited and stoked to share with the people.
I'm excited too because this is one of my favorite topics. Talking about these points, we were talking about loyalty programs. What have because a lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand how they could take advantage of just daily spending, and they can accrue a lot of points, and that could turn into free airline tickets, that could turn into free hotel stays, it could turn into free internet on a plane, it could turn into a lot of things. So what has been your experience with these points and loyalty programs?
To be honest with you, I used to be heavy. You ever heard of like couponing? I
Yes.
was like that person with like credit cards and points. I had to get what I like to call the trifecta, right? The three best cards that can work together and literally maximize your benefits and your points. Number one, everybody loves their Amex Platinum card. Amex is not for everybody, right? Because you have to have a certain level credit score. But if you do have an Amex works well because they have a concierge service. They really do take care of you, right? In certain lounges, they give you airport lounge access for Amex cardholders only. Also, Amex really doesn't fight with, chargebacks. So if you're having a situation and you got a charge that was incorrect on your credit bill
Statement.
statement, monthly statement or whatever, Amex will take care of it, and you don't necessarily have to, go through hoops and everything else. So the customer service is really great. The next card that I loved was my Chase Sapphire, right? Chase Sapphire has a Chase preferred card. The preferred card is one of the best. It's You can get up to 5 times points for certain things. I mean, gas, groceries, travel. That card it maximizes the most for your travel if you're going to like equate your points to airline and or hotels. I think right now, if you sign up, you get up to 60,000 points. At one point, you got 100,000, and 100,000 points can constitute around, I don't know, $325 towards travel credit. So that's another thing, is people got to understand what the currency is with
Yes.
points uh, I would say points to cost ratio.
Yes.
Find out, again, due diligence, very heavy on asking questions, right? The last card, I would say most people have their Visa cards and all that stuff. I love Capital One. Capital One Venture is another great card to have, and they go up to 5 times the points. Again, you need a certain credit, score to get that card. All of these cards, for the most part, but that also pushes you to do better with, working on your credit and getting those
Right.
cards.
And
Once you
finance.
have them,
Yeah.
it's a game changer.
Yeah, you mentioned the cards. I have the Amex Platinum. I have a couple businesses. I have a Platinum, and then I have a Gold Amex, and then I have the Chase, and I have a Cap One as well. And I use all of them for different points. But I like to build up the points because it allows me to fly an upgrade
Mhm.
and do it for free. Now, one thing that someone told me is to be able to maximize your points because you do not get the same dollar ratio. I mean, your points, you can burn through some points pretty quickly because they know that. So it's not going to be 1 to 1. If you have 100,000 points, you're not getting $100,000 worth of flights.
Absolutely not.
No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. But what I do is I run all of my business expenses. I run everything I can through those cards to build up the, to build up the balances. I mean, obviously, with me being in the travel space, we use hotels and vendors and everything every time we can use the card. And sometimes we're getting, substantial amounts of charges. So we're able to build the balance. But let's say for somebody who every day may be, working on something or have a card and they're building it up. What I do on a personal level, I even run regular bills through it. If I can pay the cell phone bill or the cable bill or the security or whatever it is, I can run through it. I try to run as many things as getting gas, groceries, and paying it off, obviously, because if you have a balance on it, then it's kind of defeating the purpose for why you're doing it. But it has afforded me to travel, I mean, business class, especially for long haul flights. And we're going to do a segment on long haul in a little bit. But I use it for business class. I'll use it for, if it's a quick flight in the States or something like that, I might just go ahead and pay for it outright because I don't want it, because I'm not getting the same value. So it's like when it's the larger cost flights, then I'll typically, or the longer distance flights, I'll typically use the points. And it comes in handy. It's a wonderful thing. And I know a lot of people who do it. Now, something interesting that I do, I'll use the points and then I'll still get credit for my frequent flyer miles. So I'll use my points, then I'll get my frequent flyer miles. I use my Marriott Bonvoy. So I'll go, so I'm able to actually utilize it multiple ways where it compounds and it gives me more value for that exchange, when it comes to where the dollar and the points have their disparity. I'm able to make up for it by having multiple platforms to work with. How do you do it?
And I was going to say, I'm so glad you mentioned that because it's crazy, right? Like even for my business, I'm an Avis preferred member, right? So whenever I go to these places and I pick up a rental, I'm sitting in the Avis preferred line, right? Where nobody's in. And I see this line wrapped around for everybody else that want to book cars. And I'm like, why don't they have an Avis preferred account? It's free. Like you don't, you and I are talking about businesses because we own businesses in the travel space. But right. For the person, these are still accounts that you can get for free as an average person, not through a business account, right? It doesn't change. So joining loyalty programs just makes sense. And what we mean by that is if you're renting cars, utilize one or two car rental places that you like to use the best, Hertz or Avis. I like Avis because they have locations everywhere. And because I live in Mexico specifically, Avis is not too far from my home. So if I choose to want to, rent in Mexico or rent in other countries, I know Avis is typically in those places. So you have these loyalty points where you're a preferred member. You can skip the lines. Sometimes you have access to a different part of the app, the lounges, all of these different benefits that you don't necessarily have if you're not a loyalty member. That includes the airlines. So why not? If you're living in Atlanta and your home airport is Hartsfield, Delta is your preferred airline, join Delta's loyalty program because 9 times out of 10, the flights that you take out of Atlanta and Hartsfield might be on Delta. You get what I mean?
Yes.
This way you start getting access to their lounges. This way you have more, access to free baggage or, priority pass. Was it priority?
Priority pass.
Yeah, not priority pass the lounge.
Sky priority.
Yes. There you go. I don't do Delta, so I don't know, but their Sky program, right? Yeah. Like you have access to those things. I personally fly United and or American a lot because my home airport is Cancun and I do a lot of domestic. So I fly those airlines a lot as well. But join all the loyalty programs. Even if you don't use, I have IHG, sorry, Bonvoy, which is Marriott's.
Mm-hmm.
Hilton is my favorite. As a Hilton preferred member, I mean, even the lowest benefits still give you something as simple as free water. We all know water is like $3, $4 a bottle, right?
Yeah,
You go to a
I'm seeing.
hotel,
Yeah, I'm seeing here in Puerto Rico. I'm like, whoa, look at this.
you go and you open the water at the hotel, they're charging you $10 for the water if you open it, right? So why not be a loyalty member where they're giving you free water? It might sound minute, but that stuff goes a long way when you're in your hotel room and you're like, I just want to have a sip of water and I don't know if I want to pay $10 for it. But as a preferred member, you get it for free.
Yeah.
A big deal. As a Hilton member, they give you a bag, and in the bag is like free cookies, free water. I can tell them what floor I want to be on and do a higher floor, whereas an average person without the loyalty program would have to pay to be on a higher floor.
Got
It's
it.
things like that that hotels are starting to pay attention to. They're like, most people like higher floors because they like views. Most people want, corner units because they get a better whatever. But if they're not loyal to us, why wouldn't we make them pay it? I get free upgrades all the time because I'm a loyalty member. Once you're at gold status, platinum status, and to be honest with you, it doesn't take long to get there. And a lot of times, some of these loyalty programs are allowing you to purchase points so that you
Right.
can get there faster. You know what I mean? And you could just utilize certain deals. If you book now, you get 2 times the points. With my Hilton, they give you either free breakfast or a credit towards breakfast, or they give you an extra 1,000 points. I take the points every time. I'm not a breakfast person. I'll get up, get a cup of coffee,
Keep it
and
moving.
be happy and be doable, but I got my extra 1,000 points.
Well, that's real. That's real. Everything you're saying is so key. And this is how people can travel the world because, again, when we think about some people, oh, it's too expensive. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But if you utilize some free options that are right in front of you, signing up for the program, I'll sign up for anything, any airline. Hey, what's your frequent flyer program? Let me know because I never know when I'll be back again. And I might be back soon. I might not be back soon. But to be able to take advantage of it, I believe is one of the smartest things that we can do, and it's one of the most strategic things that we can do.
And it's
When
free.
and it's free, and it's free, and that's the part. It's free, and you can do it, and it's not. It's just taking a few moments to fill out the information, and then because sometimes those rental car lines can get long. I've been in those lines, and said, "Oh wow." And you know how you feel when you're standing in the regular people line and you see everybody else over there. You're like,
Why
I
why
said their psychological game works on you. Like, I think I need to be in that line over there. And then you figure out what you need to do and you do it. I mean, that's just the way, that's just how it all comes together. I think this is a fascinating conversation. And if more and more people take advantage of it, then you can see more and more things and you can travel the world actually for free. I mean, I'm telling you, I use my points. Now I'm in a unique situation because I do a high volume, but I know people who don't do high volumes. They learn different hacks, different strategies. They go to different websites that emphasize how you can maximize your points because there are points websites and there are different strategies on social platforms on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok that you can learn how to maximize the points that you have and then find out these deals that nobody else knows about, the best time to purchase on points. And as we talked about in our previous segment, you can tie that together with some layovers or some stopovers. And now you're traveling for free, stopping over and laying over for free or at a drastically reduced rate. And now here you are able to experience the world at a minimal cost.
Well, one of the biggest ones, let's say, is Chase, right?
Okay.
Beyonce came out with her concert tickets. Chase people that had Chase were able to get those tickets before everybody else
Oh,
because she had
wow.
a partnership with, I think it was Chase or City. I'm sorry, maybe I could be
It was
mis
one of them.
one of
Yeah.
them. But my point is that when you're these loyalty rewards members, you get access to things that other people don't necessarily have access to. And there's something about being exclusive that
Yes.
feels really good, number one. Number two is at the end of the day, it's not costing you anything. It can get you points, can get you experiences as well. You know, as an Amex member, you can use your points for like Michelin star restaurants, you know,
Yeah.
chef table, kitchen, like experiences that you probably wouldn't even know existed in certain places where Amex is like, hey, we have top chef so and so, and you can get this experience in Vegas, 14 courses, including blah, 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 exclusive for Amex members.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, again, it's just a matter of signing up for it. And then it could also be an incentive for people to, work on their finances and clean their credit up and say, this year I need to clean my credit up so I can go travel the world. It might inspire someone to do that. I mean, because when you have the access to these different platforms, it gives you access to the world and to these experiences that we may only read about or see on a social media platform, but by having a game plan and putting it together early, you can make it
And
happen.
that makes sense, right? And also, there's a flip side of that. Let's be honest. For those that don't want to use points, you can also use these cards for cash back, right?
Right.
Capital One is great. I love it because when I book my stuff, I get this little kind of Capital One has like its own mall, like shopping, right? So let's say, for instance, if I'm online shopping on Macy's.com or whatever, I have it so that I get these notifications and it will pop up and say 4 coupon codes found, or shopping at Macy's gets you back, 8%, 0.3% or something like that. I'll just click activate, and whatever I purchase, I get back 3% of my purchase onto a statement that I can spend towards anything else.
Mm.
So it might not be travel credits, but it's money, free money that I've already spent that comes back to me to spend on
Right.
something else. Does that make sense?
It makes
So
perfect sense to me.
yeah. So if you don't want to utilize points, sometimes you can just do cash back. So it's so many different ways it can work for the average person. And if you're not a heavy traveler, but you're a heavy shopper, who wouldn't want some extra money? Like I got, I think $48 sitting in my Capital One, shopping cart. That's like, hey, it's $48 that I can use towards anything. If I got a $50 purchase and I use my $48, I'm spending two. Bam, done. It's a win-win. Come on now, let's get these win-wins. Let's win. Let's make our money work for us.
That's it. And I'll tell you, like, making your money work for you affords you what it can do is afford you the opportunity to see the world. And so I'm here talking to Nubia from Black in Travel. We're bringing these travel nuggets so you can get out here, get outside of the bubble, see the world. Most of us, or many of us, or a lot of us, let me not generalize, many of us only see a small portion of the world. And that's the geographical area that we're most familiar with. But I'm here to tell you that outside of that bubble, there's so many experiences that can expand you as a person. And now we're showing you how to do it. That's the deal. You can do it. It's just a matter of putting the game plan in place, and that's what we're helping you to do. So again, thank you for joining us. We're going to be coming back talking about these long haul travel journeys and how you can navigate them. So more on the way. Stay tuned. The Adventures of Darren and Destiny. And Darren and Destiny are twin brother and sister, and you go on their adventures throughout the African diaspora, meaning so African diaspora destinations, primarily focused in Africa, but we go to South America, we're going to go to the Caribbean. Their first book is going to take you to Ghana, and then we're going to go on a safari. And from there, we're going to go to Ethiopia, and then we go to Salvador, Brazil. And what the goal is to be able to inspire curiosity in the continent of Africa, in our children from a very young age, and to really tell a more accurate story. Most of our children are exposed to negative images, late night infomercials about how bad things are, everybody's sick, everybody's poor, everyone's uneducated, but that's simply not true. So what Darren and Destiny and their family do is they go to different African destinations. They are learning about these different places. You're beginning to see positive images, but still telling the truth. I mean, that's the important thing, to tell the truth about some of the things that have occurred. But it's all done on a children's level so they begin to understand it. And it begins to pique their curiosity. They begin to learn more. And hopefully one day they will want to explore and visit the continent of Africa and its many countries. There's just so much that Darren and Destiny are able to do, and as they're doing it, it's like they begin to open the minds of a new generation, and they don't get bombarded and indoctrinated with negativity. They're actually able to see positivity and inspiring images and messages about the African diaspora, as well as those who are still indigenous to the continent of Africa, and they begin to learn more and just see things differently. So I'm excited about introducing The Adventures of Darren and Destiny.